courtroom was dead silent, and this 13-year-old was smiling. Look closely at his face. This wasn't the smile of a terrified kid. It was cold, arrogant. The smirk of someone who truly believed his age made him untouchable. He mocked the victims' families. He laughed at the judge. He thought he was playing a game with the legal system, thinking his juvenile status would save him from the consequences of a double homicide. But behind that smile was a story so dark it haunted the entire town of Oak Ridge for decades. This is the story of Tyler, the boy who forgot how to feel. It was a quiet Tuesday night in a small suburban neighborhood where nothing ever happens. Doors were locked, porch lights were flickering, and the Miller family was fast asleep. They had no idea that a monster was already inside their home. Not a masked intruder from a horror movie, but a 13-year-old boy named Tyler, a neighbor they had known since he was in diapers. Tyler didn't come for money. He didn't come for jewelry. He came with a kitchen knife and a heart full of cold, calculated rage. What followed over the next 45 minutes was a scene so gruesome, even the veteran first responders who arrived later would need years of therapy to forget it. The Millers were kind people. Mr. Miller was a retired teacher, his wife a librarian. They had given Tyler cookies when he was 6. They had helped his parents fix their fence. But to Tyler, they weren't people anymore. They were obstacles. They were targets. As he moved through the darkened hallway, his breathing was steady. His pulse didn't race. He was a professional in a child's body. When the first scream echoed through the house, Tyler didn't flinch. He simply continued his work. When the police finally breached the front door at 3:15 a.m., they expected a scene of chaos. Instead, they found Tyler sitting on the living room sofa, covered in blood, calmly watching cartoons as if it were a normal Saturday morning. The flickering light of the television reflected in his vacant eyes. His parents were gone, and the silence in the rest of the house was deafening. Lead Detective Steve Mitchell, a man who had seen the worst of humanity, stood frozen at the doorway. He watched as the 13-year-old grabbed a handful of popcorn with blood-stained fingers. As Mitchell finally approached to handcuff the boy, he expected to see tears, or at least a look of confusion. Instead, Tyler looked up, tilted his head, and asked, "Is there any cereal left? I'm still kind of hungry." That sentence would go on to be the headline of every major newspaper in the country the next morning. The discovery of Tyler's diary and his computer changed the entire trajectory of the case. This wasn't just a child's sudden snap. It was a blueprint for murder that had been in development for over 200 days. The prosecution spent hours reading entries that dated back to the previous winter. In one entry, Tyler wrote about the thrill of the hunt, comparing his neighbors to prey in a video game. Forensics experts spent weeks peeling back the layers of Tyler's digital life. What they found was a rabbit hole of darkness. Tyler hadn't just searched for crime tips. He had joined dark web forums where he interacted with people who glorified violence. He was looking for an audience. He wanted to be the youngest person to ever commit a crime of this magnitude and get away with it. One message he sent to an anonymous user read, "The law can't touch me. I'm 13. I'll be out by 21, and I'll be a legend." He had even researched the juvenile loophole in his state, believing that no matter how many lives he took, he would be a free man by his 21st birthday. As the news broke, the community of Oak Ridge was torn apart. This wasn't a big city crime. This happened in a cul-de-sac where kids rode bikes and neighbors shared lawnmowers. Panic gripped the town. Parents stopped letting their children play outside. Security companies saw a 400% spike in installations. But more than fear, there was fury. Protesters gathered outside the courthouse every single day of the preliminary hearings. They held signs that read, "Justice for the Millers" and "No mercy for monsters." The debate reached the highest levels of the state government, sparking a massive conversation about whether the age of criminal responsibility should be lowered. Inside the courtroom, the atmosphere was electric with tension. Every time Tyler smirked at the cameras or whispered something to his lawyer and laughed, the public's demand for blood grew louder. They didn't see a child. They saw a predator who was using his age as a shield.